Hi guys, DeMoose. Oh, shoulder. Ah, my shoulder. I don't know why I just did that. Why did I do? Hi guys, DeMoose out here. Back with another video. Today's video, I'm gonna be talking to you guys about my top tips for shading whilst I'm doing this drawing. So I'm gonna talk to you guys while there's a time lapse going on about shading. I thought this would be the right drawing to choose in order to talk about the shading aspects of ballpoint pen drawing. So let's go right ahead and get into this. Ooh, shoulder. So the first thing we're going to talk about is reference photos. How important is a reference photo, Musa? It is important, like really important. It's probably the most important thing you need to do before you even start the drawing process. The picture that you are choosing is very important. And when I say reference photo, I mean you need to choose an image that has a lot of values. When I mean values, I say highlights, shadows. So there's a lot that you know where the light source is coming from. Not just image that's just straight flat. Like there's no everything's about it's just the same. It's just flat. There's nothing exciting about it. It just looks like a image that came from 1902, you know, back in the day. No, nothing. It's just dead. So having an image where the contrast and all that stuff is on point, so you know where the light source coming from this direction, bit of shadow action happening here, you know, all them different things. It makes it so much easier to add shadows, shading, and make your image look more, you know, saucy. That's definitely number one. Reference photo. Get a decent reference photo. If it means that you have to spend an hour looking for this reference photo, I would advise you to go do it. So now that you've got your reference photo, what is the next step? Well, the next step is a technique called cross-hatching, which is something I have been doing since the very beginning of my ballpoint pen journey. It's just over the years I have developed it and obviously found my own touches and stuff like that in order to create the shading and all the shadows and everything that I do in my drawings. Now, cross-hatching, what is it? It's a set of parallel lines crossing over one another, and there's different ways to cross-hatch. I'll probably make a separate video for this, like what is cross-hatching, and really go into depth about that. But that is a technique that I use in order to shade all my drawings. It is the number one, it's the staple, it is the stuff that I do in every single drawing. When you guys see my drawings, they are built up with lines, and lines crossing over, giving you guys that illusion of darkness, lightness, and all that kind of different stuff. And with the cross-hatching though, there is the whole pressure, layering, and let me start with pressure first. So pressure is the amount of pressure you apply on the pen in order to show you like the thickness and the darkness of the stroke. You know, if you apply light pressure, you will get a light stroke. If you apply a dark pressure, you will get a dark stroke. Now with cross-hatching, the beauty of cross-hatching is when you start overlapping lines, it automatically gets darker. So the thing that I like to do is build it up nice and light. Don't apply too much pressure. Don't go crazy with the whole press too hard in the first part. You know, even though it's like a solid black area, what I would tell you to do is build it up with the cross-hatching technique. So draw lines going straight down, then go a line going on, lines this way, lines that way. You know, go drawing lines in all different angles, but trying to keep the pressure consistent, light, and then eventually start adding a little bit more pressure if it's too light and stuff like that. Build it up. You know, it's a process. That's the way I would tell you. I wouldn't tell you to just go, okay, it's black, now just go crazy, fill it up. This is not like a pencil. A pencil you could probably use, fill it up. Even then it probably would look a bit scruffy, but with a pen, cross-hatching is the way. And then another thing is with cross-hatching, the closer the lines, you know, the less white you will get. And this is the white part I'll talk about later on, because it's also important when you're talking about shading and stuff. But the closer the lines, the better it's gonna look, number one. The more realistic it's gonna look, number two. And it is easier than keeping the lines totally separate all the time. So with the whole cross-hatching and everything, building up with layers, pressure and layers are kind of two things that go together. You know, when you apply the whole pressure thing, it goes with the layering. There are two things that have to work with one another in order to create this whole drawing and experience type of situation. Now, what I was saying about the white. But before I go to the white, what do I want to talk about? I don't know what I want to talk about. I want to talk about something else. What did I say? No, let's talk about that. Because that's basically... We're going to talk about the white. A lot of people are thinking, oh, what white pen do you have? Or what is this magic you're doing? How are you getting all these highlights and all this lighting? What are you doing, Musa? What are you doing? And now let me tell you. A secret. It's the paper. Now, that's a big secret right there. I know. You weren't expecting that, man. You're probably thinking, what? A paper? Yes, that's exactly what I use. I use the paper to my advantage. Now, that's something you need to learn with ballpoint pen. You don't have a white pen. Of course, if you want to, you can go get like a Posca white pen. There's another like jelly, what's it called? Jelly gel pens, white. There's a lot of white pens out there, but obviously me growing up, all I knew was the pen and having the paper. I didn't know about all these white pens and color ballpoint pens. It literally was just the black ballpoint pen and my paper. So obviously me just having that, I had to think of a way of, okay, how am I going to get these whites? How am I going to get these like shiny look areas and stuff like that? I had to use the paper. So with that, that just requires a lot of practice, a lot of trial and error in order to know like how to do it, you know what I mean? And it's also a thing where, again, with the reference photo, if the reference photo isn't great and you don't have you don't know what direction the light is coming from and stuff like that, it can be kind of difficult to kind of use the paper, you know what I mean? Because everything's just going to be look like one flat, no little, nothing. It's just boring. Whereas like now, if I'm saying like this, you know, the light source is coming from this direction, you know, this side is darker than this side because the lights come from here. You kind of need stuff like that as well with the reference photo. Now the white, I use it to my advantage. Like you can see here underneath my eye, you know, I would leave that white and then do the shading around it in order to create that white, you know. The shading around the white section is very important as well in order for the white to really pop and be like in your face. And now onto the final thing that I will say that is the most important one when it comes to realistic drawing. Because I know a lot of people ask me, how do I shade? How do I get the shading, all that stuff? And I'm guessing the reason why they're asking me that is because of the realistic drawings that I do and the shadows and all that stuff that I create with my shading. So this has to be the most important one. Time. The amount of time you spend on your drawing is so important in order to really get that realistic shading and close lines, paying really attention to detail. Time is it when it comes to art. Any type of art where you really want to take it to the next level, you need to invest more time in it. It's like me. Before I still class myself as a sketch artist, sketchism, because before I used to start with like 1 hour drawings, 2 hour drawings, and then started working my way up to 3, 4, 5, 6, and you could see the development in the drawings. It's not that my skill was getting incredibly better, it was just the time and attention I was giving my drawings was way more. Like there were some drawings that I spent 2-3 hours on, left it, came back like a year later and spent another 2-3 hours literally just touching it up, working on the shading, and it took this image from like okay 60% to about a 90% just by me spending that extra little time paying more attention to detail. So time is very important, guys. I recommend, like, I know a lot of people love to sketch. I love sketching. Sketching is so much fun. But if you're trying to really take your art to the next level, trying to really see how far your skill has got, I'd advise you to at least spend a few extra hours on just focusing on like the shading and keeping the lines close and all the little details that get looked over a lot, you know, by people like myself. That's why I advise people to draw 2 to 3 hours daily instead of drawing like 10 hours straight, because when you draw 10 hours straight, there's a lot you miss. You miss a lot because, you know, you get that tunnel vision, you're just focused. I always do it whenever I leave the drawing and come back the next day. I'm always like, oh, I missed that, I missed this, oh, I missed that as well. So it depends on the person. Some people can draw for 10 hours straight and get all the detail they need to. Others need to work in like parts, so like work 2 hours, little hour or 2 break, come back to the work, you know, but somehow they'll still get their 10 hours in. It's different, but time is it's essential. And like me, with the drawings that are like my best ones, like the Doctor Strange, Aquaman, Black Panther, Thor, all these drawings are in like the 12 to 15 hour range of drawing with this ballpoint pen, and hence the reason why they're like my best drawings, because the amount of time and attention I gave these drawings. You know, they may not be my most viewed videos, you know, but it is like the people are like, whoa, you did that with pen type of drawings, you know. And I know a lot of ballpoint pen artists that spend 50 hours. I'm talking from 50 to 200 hours on like A5 pieces. A5 is small, you know. A5 is small, you know. And for someone to be spending 50 hours, you know, that's 2 and a bit days, yo. 2 and a bit days. And on a drawing, it's a lot of patience, a lot of time, and a lot of discipline, because it does take a lot of discipline. You get really frustrated when you say, I'm just doing the same thing over and over again, you know, and you're literally going to be seeing small changes by the hour, you know. So definitely time is probably my #1 tip in the whole aspect of the whole drawing and shading, and how I get my shading so like crisp and everything. It's the time and attention that I give it. So yeah, that's basically it for this video. I just thought, you know, let me give you a nice little voiceover whilst I'm doing this time lapse, instead of just putting music on it, which is not really informative. Of course, you guys can still learn by just watching the time lapse, because you can still pick up a few things, but I thought I'd explain certain things to you guys in order to help you. So I hope you guys really did enjoy this video, and if you did, make sure to smash the like button, shoulder, hit the like button please. But smash it, and yeah, share this video with your friends, your family, your uncle, your mother, your brother, your sister, everybody. Share it. And yeah, if you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button, man. It's your boy DeMoose, more than just a pen. Gang. Whoo, the shoulder, whoo, hurting. But yeah, hopefully I'll recover soon, get back on the streaming and all that stuff. And yeah, if you don't follow me on Twitch, get on the gang Twitch. Links are all in the description. Everything I used in this video is also linked in the description for you guys. I'm out. Catch you later in the next video.